Anchorman when he's like, have you heard of this new trend? It's called yogging. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Do you know that part?
Yeah.
And he's like, apparently people just run for endless amounts of time.
Veronica and I are trying this new fad called jogging. I believe it's jogging or yogging. It might be a soft J. I'm not sure, but apparently you just run for an extended period of time.
He's like, I'm thinking of trying it. It's like, what the fuck are you guys all running for? Like, and you're so pumped about it. I'd be so pissed if someone invited me to a running club. Like, run where?
Yeah.
Why? Don't have to deal with fucking idiots. Oh, we still have to deal with idiots, just not as many.
If you're training till failure, how many sets should you be doing?
Oh, fucking Christ. You gotta start off with the fucking worst one.
Yeah.
Fuck, 20. I don't fucking know, dude. 15? Like, as many sets as it takes for you to fucking feel like you've had a good workout. Like, people are always looking for people to define or give them like parameters to fall within, but it's like it's different for each person. Like if I told each one of you to do the same workout, you'd both have different points of failure, or different points of being like, fuck, I don't want to do this anymore, right? Based on your ability, like how well you're rested, like what kind of energy you have, like all kinds of shit, right? So it's fine to have like these goalposts, I guess you could call them, to like stay within this range, but like don't be too obsessed with it, guys. Like kind of go by how you feel and understand that like you're not here to obliterate yourself every day and like get to the point where you're like collapsing. I've been here for 4 hours, like I've done everything I could do. It's like you're here to stimulate, not annihilate. So just stimulate what you're working, get a good pump, train hard, like push yourself on stuff, and then be done with it. Because to think of every workout as like, oh, I'm gonna go to failure, or what, like what is failure, all this stuff. It's like you still have all the other workouts you're gonna do for the rest of time to get the work in. Like you're not limited to like, I only have like 572 more chest workouts till I die. I need to maximize these chest workouts. You know what I mean? So it's just understand, like even if you didn't technically give it everything you had that workout, the next workout's not too far away, and you can make up your time then, right? So just stop being so obsessed with metrics and like how to define your workouts, because it's gonna get you nowhere.
And when it comes to like bodybuilders, when they're training, should they be training till failure, or is that something that
no one should be really training to failure unless it's a power lifter, I would say, who's like going for a number, going for like a squat. Let's say squat, for example, a squat weight they've never done. The odds of them failing the first time they do that, even though they intelligently work up to that weight, there's a spot there where absolute failure will happen, where like they might take the weight down and they get halfway up and they're like, fuck, I just don't have it, and they know. But like in bodybuilding, there's really it's not about that type of failure where it's like everything comes crashing down and like I'm literally failed, like the weight drops and I'm fucked. It's about muscular failure and how quickly the muscle fatigues. And for some people who are inexperienced and maybe have never worked out properly, and let's say they've never worked out their chest properly, they've never felt their chest engaged through a workout, they might get through what they normally do for chest when they don't really target properly. The workout might be this big, have this much stuff. But once they start targeting, their workload goes to here, because they're exhausting that muscle so much faster, recruiting so much more muscle fiber, that the workout's just like there's nothing left in the tank. So to keep pushing through that is stupidity. And we've reached muscle failure quicker, so in essence that's a good thing. It's like some people think it's not a good thing because they're like, oh, I just want to stay until I need to work out for an hour and do this and this. But if the muscle's done, the muscle's done. And you can consider yourself like job well done, and you can fucking leave now or move on to another body part, right? Because once your chest stops working and you've worked it properly, to keep hammering on it is like to keep kicking a dead horse. Like it's not going to get more dead. It's dead already, right? So,
is it necessary to completely avoid compound exercises like bench press in order to isolate and fully develop triceps?
Who asked that? No, you wouldn't want to avoid compound movements for any reason. Like especially to isolate your tricep. Like you need your triceps to do anything that is a pushing exercise. So even all you guys out there who do your push-pull days, like your push days will be nothing if you don't use your tricep on a compound exercise, right? So I don't know. I think he kind of might have fucked that question up, but to try and regain the question, you're going to develop the most of the power and the strength from your tricep through heavy pressing movements, or pressing movements in general. Not that they have to be heavy, but they're heavy to you relatively. And that's what's going to be the base of power of your tricep. But then doing auxiliary work for your triceps, like press downs, and could be like overhead cable kickbacks, could be like whatever you want, whatever tricep stuff you want to do, skull crushers, whatever. That stuff's going to lead to the development of the tricep on its own, which will then elicit more strength in your compound movements, because now you've built up the tricep on its own, not just while it's working with your chest and other pieces, right? So you need your triceps to work on compound pressing movements, guys, or you're going to have a pretty shitty pressing day. It's the same like analogies, like people like, oh, I want to, like we talked about last time, like people want to take their hands, I want to take my bicep out of back movements, because I don't use my bicep, I want to use my back. It's the same stupidity as if, like I said, I want to train my chest, but I don't want to use my hands. I don't want to use my triceps. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie a fucking, like, I'm going to tie an ankle whatever around my fucking biceps. And I'm just going to have the cables back, and I'm going to push my hands like this together and squeeze my chest together, because I don't want to use these hands or my triceps to push. I just want my chest. The limiting factor of that would be weight, and the fact that you could do that, but the contraction and the ability to actually push load would get so, you'd only get to a certain point, you'd never be able to go higher, because I just physically can't push something with my arms and my bicep driving forward as much as I could with my hand, right? So that's why you need to incorporate your hand into movements. That's why you need to incorporate your bicep into back movements, because without it, you won't have much power and you won't have much development, right? But people are like, they're so hyper fixated on isolating body parts nowadays. That's what I think is the main problem with a lot of younger lifters nowadays, and the guys who are coming up in the sport and try and reinvent the sport. They're trying to hyper isolate these body parts that are not meant to be hyper isolated. Like, all your body parts and your muscles move synergistically with each other. So even if I'm doing like a tricep press down, or I'm doing a one arm cable kickback, I still have to like set my shoulder, I still have to engage my lat, I still have to like tilt my body so my oblique's a little like grabbing, like I still have to like contort myself in a position that's effective for me to hit that, to isolate that area, right? So nothing is truly isolatory, because other areas have to like lock down so that one movement can move freely without your whole body going and freaking out, right? So just don't be so obsessed with isolating stuff, guys. Like, if they say like, I'm going to isolate my tricep, I'm going to do a cable extension with my tricep here, but I don't want to use my hand, because that will I'll get tired quickly. So I'm going to tie a fucking another thing around my wrist and do it with my wrist only. But then my wrist gets tired because it can't grip as hard as my hand. So it's like this constant like chicken before egg type thing, right? Like, you need everything to work together. You can't skip one part of the process.
What's the best way to address and correct muscular imbalances between the left and right arms?
I think it's pretty obvious. Just fucking train the one side more. I would look at, like, if you look at it from the perspective of, I can give you an example, like me, I had my shoulder replaced, so obviously I can only train the left side of my body, because my right shoulder was replaced, so I was recovering. So, like, once I get back to moving my right shoulder, I have to obviously lower the load on that side. I can't do comparable loads on both sides, because there's nothing wrong with this shoulder, and this shoulder's literally learning how to move again, right? So if you went about it that way and you broke it down to like, I need to figure out what's going on this right side or left side, like you don't have an injury, let's say, and you're just not developing, it might be a thing of like changing up your angle on something. It could be that like your shoulders are offset, or you have like shoulder that's riding higher than the other because there's like some type of like mechanical issue with your body that you could have looked at by a chiropractor or some type of like a massage therapist, even see if like stuff's tied down, so you're just not, maybe you're not getting enough range on that side because you're so bound up, right? So I would look for things outside the gym to kind of answer that question, have people assess your physique, and then inside the gym follow the plan that they give you in terms of like stimulating that one side a little more, and really understanding like the beginnings of like going back to the beginning of how does that muscle work, and like get it to fire, as opposed to like, my left side's just bigger and my right side never gets any bigger. I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing. I'm gonna be like lopsided my whole life, right? It's hard for people to do, because as soon as if their physio guy or someone who's like super intelligent tells them like, yo, you need to like just train your right side by itself. And I know that you can press 70 pounds with the left arm, but now we got to go back down to 25 for your right arm. And you're like, well, I don't want to do that. It sounds horrible. It's like the 25 is going to stimulate more. And you might get back up to the 75 or whatever later, but right now we got to turn the switch on this side because the light's not even on. Like no one's home. So we got to like get a tenant in there and get the fucking lights on and see if it starts working. So I promise you, even if you take those steps back, you'll take more steps forward. It just seems bad at the beginning. It's not that bad overall though.
Is it possible to confuse your muscles by constantly switching on exercise?
Don't fucking say that.
Or is it progressive overload more important than building
Don't
strength?
say confuse your muscles ever. Your muscles are not confused. They're confused by everything in here. There's nothing that they're not confused by. Your muscles are every point in time in here are wondering, why the fuck are you doing what you're doing? They just get acclimated to the stress. So they get acclimated to the tension, this pressure, the fucking duration of the exercise, like how heavy something is. That's how you adapt over time. It's just your body trying to adapt to whatever. It doesn't know what this is. It's just like, whoa, what the fuck are you doing in here? Like every day you go to this place and you tear muscle fiber down, we swell up, we send fluid there, and you fucking tear it down the next day. You're in a constant state of inflammation. We're just trying to repair you. So it has no idea, right? So people are like, oh, I gotta switch it up. It's like, no, you could literally, and there's people I know personally, and there's people that are top bodybuilders, you could literally do the same workout for years. Like, maybe for chest, you like to do 4 exercises. You have a toolbox of 7 exercises, and you like to cycle between different ones depending on the day. So you can play with rep scheme, you can play with like supersets, drop sets, like max out sets, rest pause sets. There's all this stuff you can do to stimulate again, but you can still stick with these movements that you like. You don't need to that's the problem with today's lifter again, is they see someone do some weird lift and they've never seen it done before. So they're like, oh, that weird lift or new style of lift must be better and is probably the missing link to why I'm not doing well. It's because you suck at the basics. The basics are horrible. So therefore, if you don't know how to press properly to begin with, you can't start doing weird pressing because you don't understand the press to begin with. You don't understand the basic press of like sitting on a machine and pushing away. So until you master that, there's no point in you going for these like confusing muscle techniques and like trying to like switch stuff up. It's like, just get good at the stuff. Like sometimes those weird kind of tweaks or something, if someone gives you an insight, they help you feel an area you've never felt before. But understand that like it's just a tool to help you feel overall better, like the muscle, right? It's not like going to create an environment where now your muscle's gonna explode. Like, oh, I never did this before, and now I do this one thing and now my chest is 5 inches bigger, right? It's like, it's just gonna help you feel something better. And tip for everyone out there, do not say that it confused my muscle, because you sound like an idiot. I used to say that when I was younger. Like I said that, like probably last time I said that I was like 16 years old, because that was like a thing back then. That's how old I am. And it's like, if you think about it logically, it makes no sense. It's like we're gonna go all play basketball. We're all right-handed. Today we just shoot left-handed. We're confusing our body. We're gonna get so good at shooting now because once we go back to the right, it's gonna be so much easier. It's like, no, we're just gonna shoot with our left today and be fucking, like, why do we do that? We all sucked today. We didn't even hit the net. Like, I'm only gonna dribble with my left the whole day today, even though my right's my dominant arm, right? So it's like, it's the same, like if you apply it to other sports or other things, you see how ridiculous that would be, right? But in the gym world, anything ridiculous goes. It's going to be picked up. Like, they're 100% down. Like, because they convinced that everyone, I think, is convinced that they're stupid, and that there's all these smart people above them. Like, with all this information, they're just hoping like it's going to fall to them, and like they're going to be, oh, I got it. I'm smarter than bigger than everyone. But it's like, just do the basics, man. And that's the problem, is the most of you didn't take the time to really nail the basics, and that's why things are going the way they're going for you. That's why you're having to develop, like, that's why some of you are doing like fucking lat pullovers with a fucking hamstring curl. Or you're sitting on this machine and you're doing bicep curls with it, even though it's a back machine. Like, oh, look at the stretch I get though when I turn my bicep in. It's like, yeah, dude, I guess. But like, you could just pick up a barbell and fucking curl it. It's just like, that's the stupidity we're at, right? So. guy at the end. First of all, those are fucking fake plates on that bar. That's a fucking, those are like 5-pound plates on each side, so it's just stupid. And the bar is probably half the weight too. It's like, it's just all stuff for people to, it's just all stuff for people to be like, it's a wow factor, right? And like you scroll by and you're like, wow. Like, for you to think that that's a real thing, like those people do that regularly, like you're pretty brain dead. Even the guy in the video was like, fuck, chill out, bro. Like, stop hitting me with the medicine ball. Like, this is stupid as fuck, right? Like boxers do that shit. Like, don't get me wrong, like guys will like hit a guy in the stomach with the med ball like all around his side, like just to toughen up, like to get used to like taking body shots, so like you don't get crippled by a fucking body shot. But like the average person, why are you doing that? Like, and why would you be doing it so hard? Like fucking like, and then on top of that, why are you throwing a barbell above your head? It's just like, it's like they sit down like, how ridiculous can we make this video? It's like, we're gonna fall off a skyscraper and we're gonna fucking land in a net. So I'm gonna catch the barbell. It's like, it's just gonna keep getting more and more ridiculous until there's like guys on top of Mount Everest doing like fucking jumping jacks and fucking medicine ball throws.